Welcome to Echoes Untold, where history whispers and we listen.
Today, we uncover a little-known Cold War tragedy, the sinking of the USS Cochino in 1949. This wasn't just a submarine accident. It was one of the first U.S. intelligence-gathering missions of the Cold War gone terribly wrong. While it may not be as famous as the later disasters of the USS Thresher or Scorpion, the Cochino's fate is a chilling reminder of the dangers submariners faced in this new era of global espionage. Stay with us as we dive deep into the mission, the disaster, and the heroic yet tragic rescue attempt that followed. And if you enjoy exploring the hidden stories of history, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Echoes Untold. The year was 1949, and the world was rapidly changing. World War II had ended just 4 years prior, but a new kind of war, the Cold War, was taking shape. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a tense struggle for dominance, their weapons of choice being not just military might, but intelligence, espionage, and cutting-edge technology. During this time, the U.S. Navy was experimenting with using submarines for intelligence-gathering operations, a precursor to the modern spy submarine missions that would later define much of the Cold War. The USS Cochino, SS-345, a Balao-class submarine, was chosen for one of these early missions. Originally commissioned in 1945, the Cochino had been extensively modified for electronic surveillance, carrying new equipment designed to eavesdrop on Soviet radio communications. Alongside her was the USS Tusk, SS-426, another Balao-class submarine acting as a support and escort vessel. Their mission was classified. The general understanding is that they were sent into Arctic waters near Soviet territory, possibly to monitor Soviet naval activity or test the feasibility of undersea intelligence gathering. This was a bold move, considering the hostility and secrecy surrounding Soviet waters at the time. The mission took them into some of the most dangerous waters on Earth, icy, unpredictable, and relentlessly harsh. The Arctic Ocean was an unforgiving environment, where temperatures could drop below freezing and storms could turn deadly in an instant. Despite the conditions, the submarines pressed on. At times, they would surface to receive transmissions or gather information, but they were always at risk of being detected by the Soviet Navy or their patrol aircraft. The Cold War had only just begun, but even then, both sides knew that a single miscalculation could trigger a much larger conflict. On August 25, 1949, after days of tension and careful navigation, disaster struck. The Cochino was operating in the stormy Arctic waters when one of its electrical batteries suffered a catastrophic failure. Submarines of this era relied on large battery banks for underwater propulsion, but these batteries were highly volatile. When a battery malfunctions, it can produce dangerous gases, heat up rapidly, or even explode. That's exactly what happened. One of the Cochino's batteries overheated and ignited, triggering a fire and a series of internal explosions. The detonation caused a release of highly toxic hydrogen gas, filling the submarine's compartments with thick smoke and deadly fumes. As the crew scrambled to contain the fire, another explosion rocked the submarine. The second blast caused electrical failures throughout the ship, leaving the Cochino vulnerable, with key systems going offline one by one. To make matters worse, the submarine was being tossed violently by the Arctic storm. Waves crashed over the deck, and the freezing winds made surface operations nearly impossible. The crew knew they were in serious trouble. If the fire and gas didn't kill them, the icy waters surely would. Inside the submarine, men were choking on the acrid smoke. Water was flooding into some compartments. The situation was quickly spiraling out of control. Lieutenant Commander Rafael C. Benitez, the Cochino's commanding officer, had a brutal decision to make. Could the submarine be saved, or was it time to abandon ship? He and his officers tried every possible measure to stabilize the vessel. Crew members worked in near darkness, navigating the cramped corridors of the submarine, trying to vent the deadly gas and keep the electrical fires at bay. Some sailors collapsed from inhaling the fumes, but it was no use. The submarine was beyond saving. The Cochino had to be abandoned. Nearby, the USS Tusk had been monitoring the situation. As the Cochino's distress signals came through, Tusk's captain ordered an immediate rescue operation. But this was no simple mission. The storm was still raging, and transferring men from one submarine to another in these conditions was incredibly dangerous. The crew of the Tusk sprang into action, preparing ropes and lifelines to haul the Cochino's men to safety. Despite the overwhelming danger, the rescue effort was remarkably successful. Most of the Cochino's men were saved. But tragedy struck again. 6 sailors from the Tusk, who had risked their lives to help rescue the Cochino's crew, were lost to the brutal waves. These men had gone beyond the call of duty, determined to save their fellow submariners, but the Arctic claimed them before they could be pulled back to safety. Minutes later, the USS Cochino gave her final lurch and slipped beneath the icy waves, lost forever to the depths of the Arctic Ocean. The loss of the Cochino was a devastating blow to the US Navy's early Cold War submarine program. While the majority of her crew survived, the death of 6 sailors and the failure of the intelligence mission made the Navy rethink its approach to submarine safety and operations in extreme conditions. One major lesson learned was the importance of battery safety. Future submarines would undergo more rigorous checks and feature improved safety protocols for dealing with battery malfunctions. Additionally, the Cochino incident helped shape later Cold War spy missions, leading to the development of more advanced, nuclear-powered submarines that could operate more safely in hostile waters. Lieutenant Commander Benitez later documented the ordeal, ensuring the story of the Cochino and her crew would not be forgotten. The USS Cochino was among the first casualties of Cold War naval operations. While it wasn't lost to enemy action, its fate underscores the immense risks faced by those who operated in silence, deep beneath the waves, often in the most dangerous parts of the world. If you found this story compelling, help us keep history alive by liking, sharing, and subscribing to Echoes Untold. We bring you the forgotten echoes of history, where history whispers, and we listen. Fact-checked note. This account is based on historical records from the U.S. Navy, first-hand accounts from Lieutenant Commander Rafael C. Benitez, and research from Silent Service, U.S. Submarines in World War II and the Cold War by Edward L. Beach. Additional verification was sourced from Anchors in the Storm, the story of Rafael Celestino Benitez.